and we'll see if he can do the same on Dust 2. I've heard Dust 2 referred to as the Orpus playground in the past. And we'll see if that's going to be the case in this game. But already we see a very aggressive push coming out from Joe. He's looking for the CTs, and they're going to be able to find them. The T's going down all over the map. Stanley finds 2 for himself, actually. He's got that Glock out. Can he survive? He's surviving this spray, and he turns around for the 3rd kill. Joe can't land his shots. And what a play coming out from Stanley. Can he turn this into the 5-man, though, already with the hat trick?
I think it seems like GLG were under the impression that it was going to be the knife round. GLG were under the impression that it was going to be the knife round. And they've just basically given the pistol round away. Dear me, as Cryptic says, see ya GLG. I'm not quite sure what's going to happen now, but let's assume that it is going to be 1-0. Stanley left all by himself in this 2 versus 1 situation. He's been spotted. Jacob's going to be rotating from CT spawn, but it's not even going to be needed. Batham gets the frag. And there it is. It is going to be the Fishies to get the head start. But unlucky GLG.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate there. So that's how it goes sometimes. Unfortunately, Knife Round had already gone through, but it is going to be 1-0 to Fish123. So good start for them, and you see this all the time. Typically, these SMGs going to come through on this second half. Joe going to peek straight on through, takes the kill onto Stanley. The Desert Eagle in the hands of Googly. Is he going to be able to land the shots? Only connects to 1. And now Batham with the P90, going to push on through, finds the shots onto Shig, who's not actually quite going to go down. Managed to duck most of those as Keita finds Googly. And now Keita, he's got his work cut out for him, but this USP is doing the work. He gets another 2 for himself as Shig now finds a second one, but he's going to finally go down. Joe finishes him off. And what an explosive round.
Yeah, GLG now, most likely a full eco from them. We might see the odd P250 here and there, but they failed to plant on the pistol round because they obviously thought it was a knife round, and they're going to have to wait until round number 4 to be able to buy up. So Fish123, they've got a good opportunity now to get a few more submachine kills and rack up more money in the bank. And on the more expensive CT side, it can be relatively beneficial to do so.
Certainly can. Joe is not taking any prisoners right now as he pushes on towards that T-spawn. Stanley with the bomb, but he's all on his own as Batham finds Googly in lower tunnels. He finds Arf as well, and now the last T remaining. Stanley again on long. Seems to be doing work with the pistols this game. Does find 1 headshot, but he's going to go down to the A4, the M4 of Cryptics. That is going to be a 3rd round for Fish123. Looks like their name is correct. They can count all the way to 3. The question is, can they count any higher? Because the rifle buy is going to come out from Good Looking Gamers.
It is. We've got an AWP on Keita. He's the man I was warning you spectators about earlier on. And the AWP on the GLG side has gone to Stanley. So there's a pop flash over towards long. That'll allow Cryptics to scout out the A-hut area. Put the Molotov down as well to stop any resistance coming his way. But in general, it seems like GLG just splitting and picking, which is something you spoke about earlier on, Munch, just taking their time, trying to scout out how their opponents are setting up. But Fish123 playing very, very passive, so it doesn't seem like GLG are going to get much information. They're going to have to scout it out for themselves, hence why they seem to be heading towards the mid to B area. They now know no one's playing mid, so they'll smoke out CT spawn, and with Stanley in upper tunnels, they'll probably split B. Yeah,
and it's Rek going to be the one pushing on aggressively, as it typically is. Joe up at the back of that B site, trying to hide in cover, but the grenade comes on through, and that's Rek getting 1 onto Batham as well. And now the B site is in control of the Good Looking Gamers. This CT's charging on in, though, and it's going to be Jacob taking a peek on through window. Can he find any shots? Can he get that all-important pick? Gets completely blinded, though. And actually, they decide to back away from this one. They don't want to go for the retake right now.
I think that's the right decision. I really do. They'll be able to buy up again come the next round, not because they just have a 3-0 lead, but they'll hold on to these weapons, which means if they do lose the next round, they might still be able to force it up and continuously apply the pressure. Because when you are on the CT side, when you are up against the terrorists with the cheaper AK-47s, you really can't allow them to build up bank, and you need to keep the pressure on. But Fish123, alarm bells should be ringing now. They gave the mid control to GLG. They said, look guys, we're just going to hold the bomb site, you come straight to us, and they weren't actually capable of holding the B bomb site. Very similar to what we saw Choke sort of fall victim to on Inferno. So let's see what Fish123 are going to do to try and counteract what just occurred.
We'll see. if they're going to be able to do so. And right now, the good-looking gamers need to avoid falling into the trap of what we saw happening over on Inferno. The T's managed to pick up a round and then end up dropping the next one. They end up losing that economic boost from consecutive loss rounds and actually end up putting themselves in a worse position than they were previously. And now Googly looking for the opening frag, but he can't quite land the shots. Does scout out one man over at the B site, but they need more information as that, as Cryptix finds one onto Shig, and now Jacob pushing very aggressively. He gets the spray down onto two. He doesn't know that one walked straight past him off. It's going to jump straight down onto CT spawn. Gets one. Is it going to be enough though? No, it's not.
No, it isn't, and we can see why Fish123 held on to them weapons. The fact that they managed to win that round has left GLG in a very, very tough situation. They could opt to force buy it up here, but I don't think we will see them do so. They know they're going to have quite a fair amount of time to still play around with, and if they do lose this round, it's not going to be the end of the world. It's not going to be too damaging for them, as that nade flies into Long Hut. And GLG just looking to try and scout out how their opponents are playing and try and overpower them together as a unit with these Tech 9s. Get up close and personal. That's when they're at their most effective, especially when you're rushing around as a group and you're running and gunning. But that's not what Wrecker did. He's going to get headshotted by Jacob, but it seems like Batham is going to have resistance coming towards him. Sprays and prays, gets one. No, he's not going to get the frag, as a matter of fact. Then Googly, the Italian, to lead the charge, but Batham just about manages to pull out of there.
Does indeed, and we see them now trying to push on through with those Tech 9s. Googly spraying on through that smoke, but he is completely blinded. Not going to be able to quite find his target there. And now flashing himself on through. Can he land the headshot onto Batham? Batham just going to be dashing backwards and forwards, but a nice spray through the smoke. Finally finds one for himself. Googly with that Tech 9 finally going to be able to even this up to a 4 versus 4, but now Batham going to go down. Googly has found himself a kill there as he's gonna go down. Cryptix suddenly just turns this into a CT round. Stanley though, he's got 1 HP. Is that gonna be enough? No, Keita wallbangs him with the AWP and takes the round for Fish123.
Yeah, well done for Fish123, especially Cryptix to be precise on managing to pull that round out of the bag, but I still feel like they could have prevented losing 3 out of 5 men, especially considering the fact that most of GLG, I believe, didn't even have armor. They just had pistols. Seemed like they expected GLG to perhaps go for the force buy. They should have maybe looked to try and keep their distance a little bit more. That would have been a good time to play the bomb sites a little bit more passive and keep their distance. And of course, as a result of the casualties from the last round, Fish123 have been forced up to rebuy. Hence why Batham's got the FAMAS. But still, in general, Fish123 looking healthy. Let's see whether they can repel the good-looking gamers this round.
We'll have to see, and it looks like Long might just be the call here for those good-looking gamers. And Stanley going to be the one to push on through. Finds one onto Cryptix immediately. And now we see Keita coming along with that up. Finds one onto Shig. And the rest of the GLG lineup, they seem a little bit dazed and confused. They're not sure where to push with this one. And immediately we see the whole of the Fish123 lineup getting into defensive positions on this A site. Maybe the B rotation could come through here for the good-looking gamers, but the spray going to come out from Joe. Lionheart is an appropriate name as he charges forward aggressively. And now Googly going to try and challenge him, and that he's going to do. King Arthur finally going to go down. Oh, it's King Richard, isn't it? That's the Lionheart. Messed that line up, but
just call him King Joe. It's easier for both of us.
King Joe.
He'll like it.
King Joe himself.
Yeah, some idiot called Kyanite called him the Freiburg of the UK scene once. Like Kyanite fella. What an idiot.
What an idiot.
And there we go. Googly, we're having barbecued Italian tonight, according to Batham, as they start to charge their way towards this A-bomb site. But no, Stanley has another Molotov, which in theory would have worked well, would have prevented the CTs from being able to defuse that bomb. But the fact that he threw it gave away his exact position in the end. And 2 versus 1, he got disposed of, and the defuse, well, there's plenty of time ticking still on the clock. Maybe he should have played it a bit more patient, maybe, I don't know, maybe hide in pit for a bit, get that first frag, and then when that last CT is forced into having to defuse, use the Molotov. Plenty of different scenarios you could have gone for there, but 6-1 in favour of the Fishies. They're swimming relatively healthily right now. Good-looking gamers forcing it up. They pretty much have to. They need to get more rounds on the board.
They certainly do. And it looks like trying to get control of these tunnels, and again just going for kind of a split and pick style start to the round. And this is something we see regularly on this map. The T's just looking for an opportunity to push on through, but Jacob going to be fully blinded there as Batham finds 2, finds 3 for himself. The triple spray down mid. He's on 1 HP, and Googly going to capitalize on that one immediately. But is it going to be enough? I don't think so. Googly did manage to get one, but Batham, before going down with the hat trick, pretty much seals the deal for Fish123.
Yeah, unfortunately the idea was good, but especially as Jacob, even though he was in CT spawn, was in theory still out of the game, really. But you can't afford to push double doors one by one like that. Very, very tough scenario, especially when you're limited to such a constricted space. And good-looking gamers, they didn't have that much firepower to begin with, and maybe they should have put more emphasis on nades, utilize smokes to take over the A bomb site, plant for short, similar to what we saw Infuse do earlier on. But it seems like they're not even going to get a plant. It's all down to the Italians. They might get a frag here, but they know exactly where he is.
Yep, they do indeed. And I mean, he's going to try and get onto this A site. We'll see if he can make crazy things happen. He's trying to land the shots onto Cryptix, but just not going to be able to find his target there. Cryptix finding his 2 kills for that round, and honestly, that entire round was all about the triple spray down mid. Batham doing absolute work for his team. And he gets a 7th round on the board for Fish123. So honestly, in this first half, they're already looking incredibly healthy. 6 rounds left for the good-looking gamers to try and at least get something on the board here.
Really well anticipated there from Fish123. They know that GLG forced it up in the last round, and they have to be on an eco this time round. It's only Googly with armor. First thing they do, first thing they anticipate, it's a potential tunnels B push. Smokes go down, Molotovs go down. This should make life a lot more difficult for the good-looking gamers, but they've weighed it out, and they're going to make their way in. Batham needs to make sure he goes down, or rather he gets 2 frags before going down, because the rest of his teammates haven't rotated in yet. And here we go, the retake begins. Batham leads the charge, spots Shig hiding behind the double boxes. Jacob comes in with the M4. Keita chimes in as well. And in the blink of an eye, all the good-looking gamers, well, they're pretty ugly right now. They're all dead. And the bomb site has been retaken by the Fishes. 3 still alive. And even though I was worried for Fish123 at one point, very well played for them to rotate quickly, retake that bomb site, and Batham as well did the right thing to pull out rather than get a bit too excited after getting that first initial frag.
Yeah, typically getting a face full of lead doesn't do wonders for your appearance, and the good-looking gamers knowing all about that right now as Stanley takes Joe to pieces with that AWP. Keita just gonna run away screaming right now, or is he? As he finds one onto Googly, evens the scoreboard up. A nice little pick from him. He's going to be very happy with that one. Now the good-looking gamers spreading out again across the map, just trying to find a way into either of the bomb sites. And so far, they've really not been all that successful. You were talking about last round. You felt like it could have been in favor of Fish. Keita going to find a nice little pick there in tunnels. But when Joe went down there on the B site, I thought, seeing Joe there with the AK, this is a player that tends to go absolutely massive in those kind of clutch situations. I was expecting him to go absolutely huge, but did end up going down. But now in this round, 3 versus 4. And it looks like the A site is going to be the decision coming out here. Stanley full blinded as he pushes onto the site. It's going to be Jacob from Goose. Keita goes down as well, though, as Cryptix finds one for himself. Half now gets one onto Cryptix, gets the double spray onto Jacob. And now on 4 HP. Has he got what it takes to finish the round out? He needs to pick up the bomb. He needs to at very least get that planted for the extra bit of dollar. He's going for the fake plant. He doesn't know that Batham's nowhere near just yet, but Batham finally arriving. He spots his head. Oh, can't half-land the headshot. He's spraying across. Can't quite connect the bullets. Batham going to go for the jump shot. He just needs to land one shot. He can't quite land it, though. He keeps on missing. Oh, finally going to go down. Batham. Honestly, pull yourself together, man. Yeah. That was a little bit dangerous.
Batham made that look a lot more difficult than it was.
Yeah.
to say the least. I can totally understand why Arf, though, was faking the plant. He was worried that Batham had actually rotated much closer and that the call had come in, that the bomb had been dropped to the point where you could see it from the concretes on short. So he fake planted just to make sure that he wasn't actually playing from there. And I don't think he expected him to come from long. But nonetheless, here we go. It's going to be Googly, the man open this time round. And even though he gets tagged, he gets the frag through the double doors. Good looking game as they had it in the last round. Then they quickly lost 2 men. Googly himself, as a matter of fact, went and faced double doors. And he evened things up at a 4 vs 4 when he really didn't need to. GLG need to capitalize on this. Hold it out for a little bit. Don't give the frag back to your opponents. Keep that man advantage. Hold on to it. Utilize it.
Yeah, absolutely. And this time it is going to be, as you say, the good-looking gamers having the advantage. And as I say that, Batham finds one in tunnels. Looks like mid is going to be the push, though. Googly with the AWP, completely blinded, though. Can the rest of the T's fill in for him while he's completely blind? That is going to be the question as we see Rek peeking up through window, trying to just search for anyone he can. But it's going to be Lionheart from behind, finds one, only going to find one though. And now Jacob and Cryptix, the last 2 CTs remaining. The bomb is going to be going down. Jacob going to be going to window as Cryptix heads toward double door.
Kobe!
Oh, beautiful grenade comes through. There's a flash onto Rek, who is all on his own in a 1 vs 2. Sprayed down, shot through the heart, and Cryptix is to blame. That's going to be the defuse coming out for Fish.
Yeah, they made that retake look incredibly easy. Just waiting for Jacob to locate that AWP as well before they go ahead and defuse the bomb. They'll take it into the next round. And GLG, they've lost so many rounds now that they could definitely still afford to rebuy, especially after planting that bomb. But it's all good being able to buy Munch, but you got to make it count. You got to do something with it. We're talking about a GLG lineup with 2 players, 12 rounds in, with only 2 frags on the board. It's not acceptable.
It's really not looking fantastic, is it? Shig and Rek. I mean, Shig and Rek, both players that we've seen in the past, do phenomenal work with those rifles, but it just doesn't seem to be that mojo there today. They don't seem to be able to get things going in their favor. And it's going to be off. Being the aggressive one here, pushing through lower tunnels, but little does he know there are no CTs here to contest him right now. Complete control of the tunnels now for the T's. But can they do anything with it? Can they do anything with this little bit of map control they've been able to glean for themselves?
Only time will tell. At long, we have a 1 vs 1 battle between Cryptix and Googly. That smoke should slow Googly down a little bit more. And the question is, how long is it going to take Fish to spot that the bomb is on shore? GLG really failing to show themselves, and this is where the important battle could come in, and it's going to be Keita to win that battle. It was Rek this time round, AWPing for the GLG players. Cryptix throws that bomb into Long Hut, knew that since there was one person spotted on short, there's most likely someone on long as well. Dealt damage, but here we go. Stanley dives down CT spawn, and if Googly can get this frag, it could be a massive turning point for good-looking games, but it's not going to happen. At the moment, 4 vs 2 in favour of Fish123, swimming quite healthily, and Jacob, we don't even need his rifle to drop Stanley. 11-1, and this isn't just tactical anymore. Fish123 on an individual level are just levels above GLG. Doesn't matter what weapons GLG have, when it comes to that 1 vs 1 aim battle, even when they have the positional advantage, they still cannot capitalize.
Yeah, honestly, Fish123 simply outclassing GLG right now. 11-1 is never a scoreline that you want to be talking about. Even on the most one-sided map ever, 11-1 is still ridiculous. His Batham gets a headshot as he backs away through the door again. And it's going to be good-looking gamers just mown down where they stand. But Stanley, he seems to be one of the only players for GLG right now. Gets another one. The hat-trick coming through. Cryptix going to try and finish him off with an incendiary. He's in a 1v1. Can Stanley pull this round onto the board for his team? It doesn't look like it. Cryptix finally takes him out. And again, that's the second time we've seen Stanley trying to do what it takes to get more rounds on the board, but it just doesn't seem to be there for them right now.
Yeah, it's almost like GLG have, you know, as they say, tried every trick in the book. None of them are working. No. We've got 3 scouts.
Well, I guess this truly is the last page of the trick book right now.
Yeah.
There's 3 scouts in.
MBK
exactly,
will be proud of this one.
Yeah, not exactly a strategy we see every day. We'll see
Unless you're envious.
Unless you're envious. We'll see if there's anything they can do with this one. It's actually going to be 2 scouts and an AWP, in fact. Half does have that big green gun, but it's going to be Joe finding one. It's going to be Jacob trading across as well. 3 versus 3. This is pretty much the best start GLG have managed to find themselves so far. But Joe is here with his M4. Only finds one, though, and actually, they're still in this one. And that's going to be the AWP in the hands of Arf, finding... No, he didn't quite land the shot. Now he does. Cryptix is going to go down. Arf with the hat-trick, but Keita's waiting for him to peek with the AWP. And now Shig, you have to defend this bomb right now. You have to get these rounds on the board, Keita. Just play time, don't peek. He's going to peek, but he finds the headshot. Nice play from Shig. Finally getting something for his team. 2 rounds on the board now for the good-looking gamers. Last round of the half. Please, guys, at least get yourself a 3rd round here.
I can't believe I thought the AWP was a scout. Dearie me. You can tell it's getting late when you start making them kind of errors. But
well, I agreed with you for 10 seconds. So.
We're both as bad as each other. But here we go. Fish123. An interesting buy, but it's all they can really mount. And Stanley's definitely heard these footsteps in tunnels. See you later, Keita. And 12-3 may very well be on the cards. And to be fair, for GLG's sake, I really hope it is. Wreck straight onto the A-bomb site is going to drop Batham, and the bomb really should go down as soon as it makes its way up towards the A-bomb site, and they should have enough firepower to hold off the incoming threat.
They should indeed. That's going to be Joe going down in the tunnels as well. Cryptix and Jacob now going to do what they can. Cryptix did find one for himself, but the bomb is going to go down. And GLG simply have to play time at this point. The AWP shot going to come through, can't quite find its target, but both CTs are incredibly low. They find one, but Googly going to take him out. And now Jacob, one single bullet coming out from Googly to end the first half. At least GLG could get themselves a couple of rounds coming up in the 14th and 15th round of the game, but it is going to be half-time, and Fish123, honestly, right now, Fish123, all they have to do is win the pistol, and they've pretty much got the game in the bag.
Yeah, without a doubt, not really the healthiest of halves, but the best thing GLG can do at this current point in time is just completely forget about what just occurred in this first half and focus on the second half and take every round as it comes. The first step in the right direction for them now is going to be winning the pistol round and capitalising on the next 2. If they can do that, make it 12-6 and then win the first gun round, then before you know it, they might be on the verge of entering double figures themselves, and God knows what can happen from that point onwards. But as we've seen individually, some of these Fish123 players all across the board, very, very good players, and it's a lot easier said than done to try and defeat them in a scenario like this.
Well, we'll see. I mean, crazier things have happened. We saw good-looking gamers push a team to overtime before. We'll see if they can do it again. Honestly, it's not looking likely. I feel like I'm stretching with that one, but definitely still in the realms of possibility if Fish123 somehow completely fall apart in this second half. Cryptix. It's live now, not the 9th round. GLG still not going to be too happy about that first round of the game, but it's going to be the B push straight away coming on through. Rek going to be doing what he can. Stanley finds one. Rek with the USP can't quite connect the shots onto Joe. And it's going to be the T's pushing on through. Keita finds one onto Joe. Rek takes a second one onto Cryptix, and now Stanley from behind. They take apart the Fish123 lineup, and good-looking gamers just straight up 5-man.
Yeah, well played from GLG. I believe it was Stanley there, who at least for me, was the man of the round. But like I said, they've got to take every round as it comes. They've got to be aware now that Fish123 didn't manage to plant the bomb. So it most certainly is going to be a Tech 9 armor buy coming from Fish123. So let's see how GLG are going to try and set up accordingly. As we can see, it's only 3 out of the 5 Fish123 players with the Tech 9 armor, mainly because the likes of Keita, only on the Glock, will want to save up for an AWP, but straight towards the A-bomb site, the Fish123 boys swim. Joe's the last man standing in lower tunnels, but he will get mowed down by Rex MP7 in the end. Only 2 casualties for GLG, and Fish123 most certainly full eco now, with maybe only Keita and Joe and Cryptics buying P250s.
Yeah, we'll see if they do opt to go for that. A couple of them did come out. A smoke actually going to come out onto Cryptics as well, and a flashbang onto Jacob. So, I mean, cobbling a tiny bit together, but really not going to be expecting much in this round. Googly just going to charge forward with the pistol, gets the information, and trades one for his own life. He's going to be happy with that one, considering he only had the pistol, and the rest of his team has got those weapons. But it's going to be Rek in a 1v1, and he finds the kill. He is going to be traded straight back across, but the rest of the team comes through with those MP7s. Cryptics now the last man remaining. With just a P250, he's already found himself the hat-trick. Can he do ridiculous things with this pistol? He's finding more, but Shig going to spray him on down with the M4. Good-looking gamers. They've managed to get themselves to half of the score of Fish123. But the full rifle buy-up finally going to come through here. Can they keep this momentum going into the straight-up even match? That's the question.
Yeah, this is exactly what I said. If they can win the pistol, win the next two, and then win the first gun round, then who knows what might happen. But this is what it comes down to for GLG now. Every round, one by one. And I like their CT setup so far. They're going very aggressive in B tunnels. They've pushed it. They've taken that gamble. Now they'll without a doubt reap the rewards because they know there's no one outside B. They know it must be an A. And that'll allow them now to completely leave the B bomb site, rotate 2 men towards lower tunnels and get the extra few men onto short. But they've got to try and speed this up because if they're not careful, Fish123, they're going to be almost on the A bomb site.
They certainly are. And they've managed to get themselves the opening frag, but we've seen this in the past in this game. They got the opening frag, but weren't able to capitalize. They have to make a move. They're going to be flanked shortly. As we see, that's another kill onto Joe. Shig coming in from behind. He's going to try and do some damage here. They need to push up quickly, but Jacob is going to be waiting. Can't quite connect the headshot onto Shig, though. They're just playing completely still here, just hiding on long, but it's going to be key to finding Rek, and now 2 CTs remaining. That's going to be Googly going down. Shig, the last CT remaining, he's pushed onto short. But in a 1v5, honestly, if I was Shig, I'd just be holding on to this M4 at this point.
Yeah, I agree with you, but I think he wants to try and deal some financial damage, which I don't blame him for wanting to do, but if he goes down without at least getting a frag like that, then he should be disappointed. And to be honest with you, GLG, I mean, they pushed tunnels. They got the information. I was really disappointed with how Stanley was facing from the car area. He faced, and the Fish123 guys, as soon as they got that entry frag onto long, they slowed it down and they wanted to be sort of double-checked before they execute onto the A-bomb site. They spotted Stanley. I think they heard him fire off that auto sniper he had in hand, and then they just naded him out. And when he tried to jump away, it was an easy frag for them. And before you know it, it was 5 versus 3. So they'll be very disappointed with how that round went. And it seems like it's going to go the exact same way. I don't think they realised Rek's actually hiding in the smoke. And there it is. Joe realises in the end. It's the same scenario as the last round, 5 versus 3. This time round, though, GLG only on pistols. And for me, Munch, there's only going to be one winner.
Yeah, absolutely. Shig's going to be doing what he can with the Desert Eagle, but can't really land any of those shots. Batham finds one with the AK. He's going to go down to Googly. Gets the headshot with that P250, but that's going to be Cryptics getting another one. And now Googly, with just a P250, there's not going to be a whole lot that he can do in this scenario. He's in fact just going to leg it from this one. Does have the Kevlar, so doesn't just want to throw that armor away. He's going to be being chased down, though. He's going to have to run as quick as he can and actually loops around on him. I thought he was... Is he going to go for try and get maybe a sneaky defuse here?
No, I think he was sort of... He had his fingers crossed that the bomb maybe been planted for long, or that one of the Fish123 players would have been left and isolated at long. Maybe he was hoping that it was going to be a plant for long, and then Keita on his own would have been in pit, so he'd have killed him and then stolen his AWP. But unfortunately, he's just going to end up saving the armor he had, which isn't too bad. But the problem is, when you look at the scoreboard, you can't help but feel that GLG need rounds. And the question is, how are they going to rack him up on the board? Very, very tough.
Certainly is. Fish123, 1 round away from match point. 2 rounds away from taking our final game of the night. And again, another quick long push coming out from the Fish123 lineup. A nice grenade is going to attack down a couple of these members. But I like this from GLG. They don't just try and contest immediately. They play more defensive.
They do. But Jacob is going to be waiting patiently just in case some of these GLG players decide to try and push up mid, get information, then try to flank around the back of long. And alarm bells at this point should be ringing for GLG. They know that they've got this short control, they've got the mid control, so Fish123 are either in tunnels preparing for something towards a B-bomb site, or they've got long control, hence why Arf and Stanley have this crossfire going, but I don't have high hopes for them, I really don't. There's that crossover smoke coming out from Cryptics, and Fish123 should be able to at least brute force a bomb plant here.
They should indeed. We'll see if that's going to be the case. Stanley going to be mollied out of that corner, has to get away from that one, does not want to be lit up, but Joe is going to be the first one going down. Arf finds that one, but he's traded straight back across, and now Rek being sprayed down, but does find one for himself, but now 2 versus 2. Stanley, again, finding one, but trading, and just straight up trade for trade for trade for trade across that round. Keita and Rek both getting 2, and now Googly, the last CT remaining. The bomb isn't down just yet, and he hears Keita's footsteps. Can he find the shots? Yes, he can! Good-looking gamers. They stay in the game.
I'm surprised that Keita made so much noise. Obviously, there was only around 5 seconds left, so I would have thought that he should have really gone straight for the plant. But I think he was convinced that Googly was actually going to be hiding behind the double boxes. That's the only explanation I can think of, unless I'm missing something pretty obvious. But here we go. Cryptics has gone for the glass cannon AK approach. Fish123, they don't want to allow their opponents to build up any bank whatsoever. You can see that despite winning that last round, money is still very tight on this more expensive CT side. Keita, glass cannon, AWP, but we know how strong he is with that weapon. And only, or rather it's only going to be a matter of time, I'm sure, until we start seeing him wreaking havoc with it. These push up tunnels. Cryptic has been mowed down. Jacob's going to get fragged as well outside of long, and this is nice from GLG, changing it around, up in the tempo, taking their opponents by surprise, doing something a little awkward to say the least, but hey ho, it's taking your opponents by surprise, it's working, and that's the important thing for GLG. They've got to try and reinvent the wheel, they've got to try and surprise their opponents, and if they can prevent this bomb going down, then it'll be even better. But no, unfortunately, the boost was just too slow there in the end.
Was indeed, and now 2 versus 4. This should be an easy retake. That's a nice grenade onto Batham to take him out, and that's the last CT going down. So good retake coming through from the good-looking gamers. The defuse is going to be there, and I mean, the bomb did go down. At least Fish123, they're going to have that bonus income there. Good-looking gamers getting round after round on the board here, but honestly, still, I mean, they need 8 consecutive rounds here to take this game. It's going to be a tall order if ever I saw one. And honestly, I mean, good-looking gamers, they do have a little bit of an advantage pushing on into this round. Just a Tech 9 in the hands of Keita. But again, Fish123 really seem to favour these long pushes.
Yeah, it was important as well that GLG didn't lose that last round after winning their first round in ages, because their money would have been pretty much
non-existent.
Yeah, so nice to see them starting to build up a bit of momentum. Let's see if they can make it a hat-trick of rounds, 3 in a row. That smoke, or rather it's a flash actually, it's going to flash the T's, but no one peeking in, and there's what I expected, the smoke to renew things, but, well, they expected Batham to push through, and they're going to get completely hammered down, off with 4. And I'll tell you what, he's hungry for this 5th. He's going to try and hunt Jacob down. He knows where he is.
Certainly does. Jacob dodging the flash though. Can he get the spray down? Off, it's gonna fall. Can't get the 5, man. Stanley is gonna blow Jacob's head apart though with that M4. And it's another round on the board for GLG. And actually, GLG only 5 rounds behind their opponents right now. Maybe, just maybe, they can make this happen. $2,000 spare in the bank for each of their players. Another eco going to come through for Fish123, and immediately we start to see them charging towards this B site. A bit more of a Tropic Thunder style play coming out from them.
So here we go. Keita, normally the AWPer for the side, leading the charge, and he could very well meet his opponent, AWPer in Shig. And there it is, bullet. We can see the remains of the bullet on the wall behind poor old Keita. That smoke's going to go down, but Shig nonetheless continues through the smoke. Tom Rek knows exactly what's coming in, and he is going to wreck his opponents. Googly chimes in as well, all the way from Italy. And GLG, welcome to double figures. It's going to be another gun round now for Fish123. But if GLG win this one, then this round, or rather this game, this map could get very hot and spicy. Let's wait and see what happens.
Certainly certainly could. And I mean, I called that a Tropic Thunder push. You know what they say, never go Fish123. Never go full Fish123. But it is going to be... Looks like short might be the call here. Everybody heading over towards this side. And I like the pace that Fish123 keep pushing out here. They're not going for these slow rounds. They're just trying to keep the pressure going on GLG. And this time, Joe opens the round up, but Googly immediately trades it straight back onto Jacob. 4 versus 4 now. And the Fish123 lineup hanging around short. They find Googly pushing a little bit too aggressively, I feel. And now they have the advantage. Can they turn this into match point, though? Yeah,
definitely. Googly really didn't have to go that aggressive, but important frag from Rek is even out of 3 versus 3. For me, this still favours the T's, but if GLG can get the next frag, then who knows whether it's going to be yet another successful defense coming out from the good-looking gamers. Only time will tell. We've got Shig on the AWP. Rek, of course, who we saw get a kill over on with the Kalashnikov. And Arf, who's going to be the man to hold mid all alone from CT Spawn with that M4. And it seems like the Fishes are going to try and regroup, or rather Cryptics and Joe are going to try and regroup towards long. They should be able to drop Wrecker, or at least get a trade here, because it's 2 versus 1. And then Keita should be able to come in from short and deal with damage. And here we go. The question is, are they going to try and swap things around? Smoke crossover over. Keita go all the way towards Pit, and Joe plant for long. No, he's actually going to throw the bomb, but Keita heard off, making his way up. And that's brilliant play from Keita. In the blink of an eye, the bomb site belongs to the Fishes. And Shig now in a 1 versus 2 with the AWP in a very, very tough scenario. That flash is going to give away his position. And now it's only going to be a matter of time until he attempts the retake. He's playing it patient. He heard where Keita rattled off that AWP shot from. He knows he's going to be hiding in graffiti, but Shig also knows that that clock is ticking. I don't think Keita realizes how close Shig is. Oh no, how unlucky. Legs him, pulls out the P250, but it is going to be a Fish123 round. You can't help but feel sorry for Shig there. If maybe he'd gotten that frag, he may very well have managed to get the second frag and defuse the bomb. But he legged him instead.
Disastrous for Shig. That could have been so beautiful. If he'd got that kill, it could have been the 1 versus 2, and it could have been another round for good-looking gamers. But it is now match point for Fish123. Best case scenario for the GLG lineup right now is that overtime, and that's the second time I've said that in this season. And we'll see if it's the second time that they're going to be able to pull miracles out. Googly going to be tagged down there by his own teammate.
Stanley's trigger bot not working correctly, it seems.
Yeah, unfortunately. But going to be a double up strategy coming out. Shig and Rick both having those ones against just the Galil of Jacob. But we've seen Galils do crazy things already this game. Grenade thrown out to try and do what they can, but Stanley mows Jacob down where he stands. Joe trying to get the shots on, and he's going to be able to at least tag his target there. Grenades being thrown left, right and centre towards short, but they can't quite finish anyone off.
No, Batham taking a peek into tunnels. He's realised it's clear, and maybe, just maybe, we might see a big split from Fish123 unless Joe can lead the charge towards this A bomb site. Here we go. There's the entry frag. Flash going down towards CT spawn. They know that there was 2 CTs playing mid or CT spawn earlier on, so there's most likely going to be someone rotating from there. There's going to be 2 rotating from there. Stanley leading the charge. The boost isn't going to come in. They're going to try and stop Keita planting the bomb. They cannot, but they will kill him nonetheless. And now it's all down to Stanley and Rek to keep the GLG in this game. 1 person to defuse, and 1 person most likely to hunt the T's down. Fantastic crossfire, fantastic retake from GLG. No one defused. Rek knew exactly where the Fish123 player was going to be hiding, near the quad boxes, and then the other player hid behind the barrels, nailed the Fish123 person rotating from short. Great play, more than enough time to defuse. GLG, they deserve a pat on the back after that round. That was beautiful counter-strike.
Yeah, really nice from Stanley. Knows exactly where he's going to come from short. and just nails him in the head with that M4. And it keeps good-looking gamers in this match. And now we're going to see everybody charging into this B side, but there's the spray coming out from Googly. Finds 2 for himself and just Fish123 mown down there. And a 12th round on the board for the good-looking gamers. Do we see a 4 spy coming out from Fish123? Or is it going to be another eco? Looks like the eco is going to be the call. Look at that beautiful spray. Shig found one as well with the AWP there. And a couple of Tech 9s is going to be all that comes out from Fish123. But instead of going for that fast B push, they're going to spread out across the map.
Yeah, opting to go for the double eco here. Not really surprised. Keita and Jacob both with armor. Not really sure how effective it'll help them be, but with the Rec 9, you really never know. And it seems like Keita's just going to pop flash them, and the rest are just going to rush straight up towards mid to B. If they manage to get 2 frags here at mid, they should be able to completely outnumber the Lone Ranger on the B bomb site by himself, and it could really end up twisting in their favour, but only time will tell. I'd really be disappointed if after this wonderful game Fish123 end up basically winning it on the back of an eco, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. Shig with the double, makes it a triple. And ladies and gents, good looking gamers, they're still fighting on. Peter last man standing, but not standing much longer, I'll tell you that. Or is he? He's going to pick up the AWP. He's being chased down by these angry CTs. But Googly finally rotates in and gets the frag. And this is where things really start to heat up. Fish123, they went for the double eco. This is their chance now. This is their chance to clinch this BO1. If they don't, who knows whether we're going to see overtime. And if we do see overtime, what a comeback from GLG. Great character.
Absolutely. Honestly, I found myself in this game struggling not to root for GLG in this second half. I mean, they had such an appalling first half of the game, but they've managed to pull themselves back into this one. Another double AWP coming on through. We'll see if it's going to be enough, though, because the full rifle buy is here for Fish123, and the A site is the call. Everybody pushing on. Azar finds one for himself, but it's going to be wrecked, sprayed across, but he manages to dodge the bullets. Matrix style right there. Batham finds R finally, though. Wreck going to be trying to do what he can as Cryptix is going to be able to get this bomb down. Batham finds a second one of the CTs, and now 3 versus 4. Can the retake happen?
Yeah, Batham really taking matters into his own hands. Shig, Googly and Stanley now prepared to try and retake this bomb site. Little does Cryptix know that someone's actually rotated from long. He knows now. Nails him in the head. See you later, Stanley. And it seems like the fat fish has sung. Fish123 just about win the game, 16-13. But you know what, credit where it's due to the good-looking gamers. They definitely brought us an ugly first half, but that really was a good-looking second half. They huffed and puffed. They couldn't quite blow down the aquarium, but to bring it back to 16-13, they still deserve a pat on the back. And it just makes you wonder, Munch, if their T-side had been slightly stronger, this game could have easily gone in their favour.
Absolutely, and I feel like this is the story of GLG so far. We've seen them... There's no kind of middle ground for them. There's no, oh, we nearly win a game or we nearly win a half. It's just like straight black and white. They're either on it or they're just nowhere to be seen. I mean, you saw it in the first half. They only managed to get 3 rounds on the board. And then the second half, just out of nowhere, completely come back into the game. I genuinely thought that was going to go into overtime, to be quite honest.
I did, especially after Arf got the first frag. I thought, this is it. They're all going to